East Podcast, WATP.
All right, quick warning. I really do try my best to avoid politics on this show. We just had the election last night, and Cardiff did a show somewhere at surfing, and Melton was on for 7 hours talking about it and breaking it down on this very channel. You had Christian Blatt and the gang breaking everything down about the election. And, of course, Howard Stern has been promoting first Joe Biden. He had that crazy interview with Joe Biden. So weird. And then when he dropped out, Kamala came on, and we talked about Doritos and all the important issues that Americans want to hear about from their future president of the United States. So I was definitely interested to hear how Howard reacted to this. Have you heard any of this, Cardiff?
No.
Okay.
I was wondering how he took it.
Yeah.
I think I know.
So this is bizarre because Howard's been preaching politics for this entire cycle. You know, obviously he's off all summer, but it's just nonstop. And he's been making headlines for calling any of his listeners who vote for Trump dumb. And he doesn't want them listening to him. Like, he's been alienating his listeners and stuff.
I get that.
So, you know, well, yeah, I've seen you do the opposite of that. So then...
wouldn't it be great if he pulled out the Sibian? All right, I'm back.
Right. Yeah, Trump's president again. Let's go. It's a party. Let's go. Yes.
Kamala, well, before you go.
So that should have been what he did. But instead, he gets up in the morning and he talks about what he did the night before.
Well, I stuck to my plan. I stuck to my plan. Last night I was in bed and I decided not to watch election coverage because if I was upset by the result, I wouldn't be able to sleep. But my wife was like, how can we not watch? How can we not watch? You're in the media. You should be blah, blah, blah. I said, well, look, I know I got to get up early and work.
So Howard is a child that doesn't want to hear bad news before bedtime. Then he won't sleep real good. He's got to get up in the morning for work.
Well, nobody does, Carl. Be fair.
That's crazy, though, right there. The idea that's just like, well, I don't want to know what happens if it's going to put me in a bad mood.
Carl, you just can't identify with a wife that doesn't want her husband to go to sleep.
Maybe that's true.
You don't understand. He's looking forward to those middle-class tax cuts Kamala's been promising.
Right. Oh, so he gets into it with callers. It was a very interesting segment. I'm not very usually interested in what Howard Stern has to say. It's usually very boring.
Did he take like pro-Trump calls?
We're going to get to that. We have a lot of people who are thinking about making a trip to Greenland, are the calls that he takes, but there might be a pro-Trumper or two. So what Howard explains that he watches a TV show with his wife, then he goes to bed. He goes to bed at 10. He's not watching the news. He wants to avoid it. Then he has to get up to pee at 1, lays back down, and baths up as if they're in the same room, which is crazy. But baths up, and it's like, all right, we got to turn on the TV and see what's going on. Now, what channel do you think he would turn it to, Patrick? Do you pay attention to?
No, but I would guess
Howard?
MSNBC or CNN.
What do you think, Cardiff?
I want to say it's going to be Fox News for some weird reason.
All right, let's find out.
What?
And then both of us are laying there, and I'm going,
You can't go to sleep.
Can't go to sleep. I put on the TV. I thought, well, what is the best channel for me to watch? I'll watch MSNBC. I'll get the news there.
I'll get the news there. You know where they have the news on MSNBC?
Real news.
It's not just a propaganda tool for the Democratic Party, which
They haven't called it for Trump yet.
Right. All right, so Howard turns out, this is where people are going to get mad at me. Crash Awesome's going to complain about this segment. I am telling you, it has come out that MSNBC is the talking piece for the Democratic Party. It's fine. Just know that. You just have to know that. That's all. But this is what Howard turns on to find out the news.
I could tell within 3 seconds.
The news was bad.
Like Rachel Maddow was actually on the panel, giggling and stuff, and I was like, well, maybe there's some hope there, but I don't know. That woman's remarkable. She was able to keep her composure, but I put on the TV and I saw that pretty much by 1 o'clock it was pretty much over, even though they said that all the votes hadn't been counted, and I just turned it off. Never went back to sleep.
Nah, Howard couldn't sleep after that when he found out that all the efforts he put into getting Kamala elected did not work, not come to fruition. I like that he says, even Rachel Maddow, who, by the way, is paid to pretend that Trump is Hitler, wasn't as upset as Howard was. Like, that's her job, is to pretend she's super upset it's the end of democracy. And she's even just like, what are you going to do? We all knew that Kamala wasn't going to win this one. Anyone with a brain in their head knew this wasn't going to happen. By the way, I do have Stuttering John's reaction coming up in a little bit.
Shouldn't be this way.
He was surprised. I love that drop.
That was the green screen, right?
Yes.
It's not. It shouldn't be this way.
It's right up against my back. What's going on here? Now, Howard, you would think, because he's been talking about this election so much and had all these people on his show, you would think this entire episode would be about this election. But 6 minutes in, he's already off on another thing that's bothering him.
I even have more horrible news.
What?
Yesterday, I was told that where I live, Tivo is no longer supported by my cable system.
Oh.
And I no longer can use Tivo. And I'm an old fucking guy. Like, I locked in on Tivo early on. I love Tivo.
And you've been with it ever since. You've never abandoned it.
And everyone told me you should just use YouTube TV, which I am a subscriber of, but you should use it. You can record all your shows there, you DVR them. And every time I tried it, I was like, you know what? I just love my fucking TiVo.
He's talking about TiVo.
Yeah.
I had no idea this still existed.
We all have TiVo, Carl. We know what TiVo is.
I think I learned about TiVo in business school. Where it was like, and this is going back many years, back when I was at school. But there was a case study about how you could have a brand name that everyone knows and still no one gives a shit. No one uses your product. They don't care about it. I had no idea they were still in business.
Like, he still has some giant TiVo box.
Yes. And
sitting on.
They built them into like cable boxes and like satellite boxes and stuff. So it's like built in. I think eventually, because cable boxes had DVRs that weren't TiVo.
Correct. They had their own proprietary
it was
DVR.
Their software. They started, the logo, the software, the remote.
I think what's happening here is that Howard has a extra unit, a TiVo, that hooks into his cable box and is able to record the programs. And finally, the cable box said, we don't have that input in the new boxes anymore. Like, that's not a thing. We're not supporting TiVo anymore.
You would be able to get an adapter for it if that was the case. Because I used one that worked with any of them. It did like IR. It would change the channel through like IR blasting and stuff. Like, they were compatible with anything. So as long as you can get, like, if it's component, composite, whatever it is, you can get HDMI to that. They could figure it out.
You would think so, but apparently no more TiVo with this cable system.
I bet he has a box. I bet he has a cable box with TiVo built in, and they're like, we're not supporting that anymore.
Very possible.
It's from 2002.
Very possible. So Gary Delabate comes in. By the way, two people have already joined the show. First, it was John Hine to talk about a TV show that Howard was watching. And now it's Gary Delabate. Yeah, we're only 5 minutes in, and we're already talking about TV shows and TiVo. The election just happened, but okay. So now Gary Delabate is going to come in. Right. Yeah. To tell his story about his TiVo.
Gary, you have TiVo information?
I do. So in my cable system, as of October 25th, they pulled the plug on TiVo. So I had to get rid of everything. Because they're not supporting it anymore. The cable companies, they use cable cards and they're just not going to support it anymore. So to me, first of all, I love TiVo. I feel like this just almost puts them out of business,
Yeah.
But
well, yeah. I mean, isn't there something sort of un-American about that? I guess not, huh?
Howard thinks that not supporting TiVo is un-American. Can you believe that Spectrum doesn't give a shit about TiVo? Yeah. I can believe that.
Didn't Howard do weeks of shows about Gary liking vinyl?
Yes, good point. Yes.
This is worse than liking vinyl.
Right. Yes, vinyl made a comeback. TiVo's not going to make a comeback. You're not going to have like kids growing up and going, oh, they have TiVo units at the store now. My grandparents
vinyl also had a longer run.
Right.
TiVo.
Yes. That's a very good point as well. So Howard almost didn't do the show today. But he made a decision to come on, and for a very good reason.
I almost canceled the show because I was like, well, and then I came to a conclusion. Today, I have something caught in my throat. I'm so tired, I shouldn't even be doing a show. I'm exhausted. Today's show will be devoted to those of you who are sad. There are many people out there who are happy with the result of the election, and I honor that because this is America, and we honor the winner.
And we're perfectly willing to say the election was not fixed.
It was not rigged. It was the people spoke, and they got what they wanted. Now,
MSNBC didn't tell me that it was rigged, so it wasn't rigged. All right, good. Got that figured out.
But for those of you who are sad, I am going to do a show that will cheer you up today. I will not spend a lot of time on politics. I had a feeling we'd be dealing with this based on the information I had. So
Howard did know Kamala wasn't going to win the election. Interesting. Okay. You got some info on it.
You will have today some fun stuff.
Good.
Yay! You will have...
You still have the Florentine drop over there. That's funny. I like that. Rob's got to hear her ex-boyfriend yelling stuff from Fred.
You will have JD's list of hottest women on TV reporting the news last night. You will get an unbelievable report where both Ronnie the limo driver, and his wife, Stephanie, they were posed with a question: if Ronnie should die, which staffer would Stephanie have sex with? And there was brackets involved, and you will get that answer today. Ronnie doesn't know the result of which staffer will be with Stephanie when
she actually had answers to that question.
She had to answer brackets. The result is more shocking than the election.
Wow.
Believe it or not. This is all to distract you if you're ready to go hang yourself.
That's nice of Howard to actually try to put on an entertaining show for once. So I'm going to change things up this week and actually do something people might enjoy.
Yeah, when does it start?
Yeah, feel free to do that every day, Howard. It doesn't have to be just when people are depressed. You do a radio show. It's supposed to be funny, so nothing's ever stopping you.
John's show might be better than his right now.
It's so bad. Imagine he's just like, guys, stick around. JD's going to tell you who's hot on television. Great. And Stephanie, the crazy person who married a 78-year-old man for some reason and moved to Vegas with him, is going to tell you who she'd fuck on the Stern Show staff. Cool. Neat. Can't wait. Needless to say, I didn't get to either of those segments on the show. I wasn't all that interested. I was more interested in the callers that were calling in who were super depressed about the results of the election. And listen, I don't have to tell you guys, but this is seriously bad news for a lot of people out there. You know, women, minorities, gay people, LGBTQI,
others.
There's going to be trains. There's going to be camps. There's a mass deportation. There's a lot of bad things.
Who are they running trains on?
The LGBTQIA, apparently. So here comes the first caller.
Hey, Howard. I want to go back to bed myself. I'm an educator in North Carolina. I did my part, and thank God we didn't get that governor. But, Lord, I was so depressed, and I'm like, you know what? I never call. Let me call. Howard, I'm glad you're on to kind of cheer me up. I'm sitting
today.
Here
I'm going to cheer you up.
Go to work.
Kathy, the show is
for people.
The show is for you today. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm an educator, but I know colleagues who have voted for this man, a man who wants to eliminate the department that they work for, the Department of Education.
All right. So she's upset. She's an educator, and they're talking about eliminating the Department of Education. Does that mean teachers go away? Does that mean there's no more
schools?
Yeah, we close the schools. Is that how that works? You think that's what
the same word? She's an educator, and that's the department they were trying to close. So yeah, she would die.
Yeah, of course. They're just like, we're going to get rid of this federal department because we don't need oversight from Washington D.C. into all of the schools across all of America. They're like, that's crazy. What are we going to do? Handle it locally? Yeah, like it used to be. Right. That's. I'm not trying to get political. People are going to get upset with me.
But also, like, it's never meant less to, like, announce your title or your occupation. Like, I'm a doctor. It's like, oh, there aren't any shitty of those. Yeah. I'm an educator. Like, oh, I never had a retarded teacher.
Right. Wow. And so noble. It's so amazing you can do that. All right. This is the biggest victim right here. This next caller. This is nuts.
Lisa, go ahead in Massachusetts. What can I do for you?
Hi, Howard. So my daughter,
Lisa.
who is hi, Howard. I've called in a lot.
Lisa.
I love you so much.
Thank you.
So my daughter, who is neurodivergent, she has. They changed it from, it used to be called high functioning autism, which means it's, you're doing pretty well, but they changed it to low needs autism. Anyway, she's at college. She is panic texting me, Howard. It's breaking my heart. She's like, what if my girlfriend and I can't get married? What if I can't get IVF? The only kids who have ever been nice to her because she's quirky and different are her trans friends. She's like, what about my trans friends? What about this? What about, and I'm like, she's like, oh my God, we're all doomed. And I'm trying to hold on, Howard, and be like, no, it's going to be okay. And I've been crying all morning. I'm Jewish, and I grew up as a kid in the 70s, and my brother was beat up and called the Jew boy at age 4. The Chinese neighbors had an M80 bomb put in their lawn.
It sounds like a joke call, doesn't it?
It does.
There's like too many things going on all at once. Like she's such a victim, and her daughter's not going to be able to marry her girlfriend, and they're friends with trans people. They hang out
Charlie's
with.
after her.
Charlie's after her. It's nuts. Don't even ask. And this call goes on and on and on. And this is a real person. I'm going to get to the bottom of that in just a moment. This is a little bit of a longer clip. Feel free to tell me to pause it at any time because, a lot of the people who are upset about the results are saying that hate won. People who went to the polling stations were like, I just hate. I just want to vote for hate.
Did Howard happen to tell that woman, like, you're an awful parent? How have you taught your daughter to just panic like this over
your daughter's in college? She's an adult and she's texting you and freaking out because of who the president is. We've had shitty presidents in the past, right?
Right.
It's not the first time.
Also, great point. She's in college. She can't go just find one of the nearby cry rooms.
Right. It's nuts. So she goes on.
And all I can think of is that hate won, Howard. Hate won. And I don't even think people understand that presidents don't play a big role in the economy. I really think it's a lot of people saying they're not happy with their lives.
That's a weird thing, too. Presidents don't play a big role in the economy, which I normally would agree with, except for Trump's plan, if you listen to it, it's about tariffs, which will play a huge role in the economy, but okay.
Why are black and brown people doing better than me? I don't like how things are changing. What is going on? I just want to say a big fuck you to all the elitists, and that's what it is. And I don't think they know. They don't know policy. They don't know anything. And I just love you so much. And I want you to talk about fun stuff, Howard, but I also feel like I have that camaraderie, and when I know that the person I admire most, which is you, my husband's like, I know you're going to be on the phone with your boyfriend Howard this morning.
Poor husband. Could you imagine?
He's like, better him than me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Cry about it to Howard. All right. I got to go to work.
It makes me feel less alone. So I hope you'll talk about it a little bit. And I wanted to add one more thing. I worked in radio for years. I hate all the podcasters too, because I have a podcast and I'm in the top 1% of all podcasts, and I get annoyed.
Ooh, la-ti-da. In the top 1%. No one told me there's going to be boasting. All right. Let's find out more about this podcast.
That I had to work my ass off. And so can I say the name because it has to do with trauma, and it would mean a lot to me because it could help people who are now
Well, Lisa, first of all, you haven't taken a breath yet, so go ahead.
I know.
Let's hear it.
Thanks. So I just want to say that I worked in radio for 8 years, and then I've worked for other companies. I've created podcasts for big companies. Now my podcast, which I changed, which is risky because it's a very popular health podcast. It is called, and Howard, I'm going to cry, Trauma-Informed Self-Care, Tiny Habits for Big Emotional Shifts in Nutrition, Fitness, and Mental Health.
Wow, what a title right there.
My pen's out of ink.
Saturday show, Carl.
So she bragged that she set up podcasts for companies?
Yes.
It's in the top 1% of podcasts for the longest podcast name.
The Guinness.
Her podcast is called Trauma-Informed Self-Care, Tiny Habits for Big Emotional Shifts in Nutrition, Fitness, and Mental Health. And of course I checked it out. But it's so boring and so bad. I'm like, we can't even do this. But maybe we'll bring it in for a quick segment or something.
So called my sister, brother, and I were molested.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Let me back that up. There's more victimhood going on. She's nuts.
I also called my sister, brother, and I were molested
I'll
by
tell you
the man
what,
next door. Hold on. And
Lisa.
he was a Nazi. So
She goes, my brother and I were molested by the guy next door, and he was a Nazi. I thought they hated Jews. Now they're fucking them? Okay.
I've seen that porno.
This is crazy. She even tells Howard to shut up. Enough of you. More of me. Yeah, I'm not done yet.
help. I also called my sister, brother, and I were molested
I'll
by
tell you
the man
what,
next door. Hold on. And he was
Lisa.
a Nazi. So I'm very like children, I have
Lisa,
a lot of
I've
childhood
never
trauma.
heard a better
I love
name
you.
for a podcast than the one you chose.
mean that?
She goes, did you mean that? What an idiot.
No.
Lisa's fucking stupid. It seems like, and listen, if I just heard this call, I'd be like, well, this is fake. This is a very funny troll. But I looked up her podcast. I listened to a bunch of it. I'm like, oh no, this is who this person actually is. And she will not shut up. This call continues.
It is so catchy and so memorable and so. What is the name again? Because I already forgot. Listen, I got to go, Lisa, but I hear you. Thank you.
Great tagline, though. Can I say it one more time?
Yeah.
Trauma informed self-care.
I doubt it.
Tiny, this is brilliant. Tiny habits for big emotional shifts in nutrition. Oh, and also, okay, hey, Howard, one last thing.
How about just tiny
You are not a
habits?
psychopath.
Right.
You have
I know.
dyscalculia. You have dyscalculia, which I have, and my daughter, which it's a massive
Lisa, I got to
dyslexia.
go.
You should look it up.
All right, the dyscalculia. Thank you, Lisa.
You should have changed your name to Dyscalculia.
All right, Robin's laughing at her own jokes. Fred was making that entertaining, though. Thank God for Fred at the
He's
Saber
pretty slow
Dance.
on that. I was waiting for him to come in a lot earlier.
Definitely. Well, because everyone's trying to heal. Everyone's very upset about the election results, of course.
He's healing too.
But that
I hate podcasts. By the way, I have one.
Yeah. She goes, I'm with you about how podcasts suck, and mine is in the top 1%. Okay.
Is it, by the way?
I doubt it. I mean, how would you
said
even
you
know?
looked it up.
I looked up the show. I listened to it. How would you know
Is it
what's in the top
popular?
1%? It's not. Of course it's not popular. You ever heard of it?
Yeah, I would remember
know.
that.
I wouldn't know.
And she said she had a husband?
Yes.
Oh, shucks.
Sorry, she's taken, Cardiff. The thing about being in the top 1% of podcasts is that I think we're all in the top 1% of podcasts, all of us on this show. So there's so many fucking shitty podcasts. It's not really that impressive of a feat.
Most of them are Patrick Michael.
Right. Most of them are Patrick Michael. Some other people do shows too. All right. So now we have another caller calling in. And this caller is also very distraught.
Hey, now, Howard. First time, long time.
Yes.
I'm just shocked like everybody else. It's probably worse than 2016 because now, they know what to do to kind of keep the government to themselves and just freaking me out. Not for me. I'm a white guy in New York. I'm more for my wife, my son, my, gay family and friends and minority family and friends. It's just hard to cope with that. Most of the country seems to be like racist and sexist and,
Yep.
I don't know. Do you think it was a mistake, I guess, to run Kamala? Do you think Biden could have beaten him?
Oh, he pronounced her name in the racist way. I just want to point that out. He's got to be careful with that. So this is another thing that all the callers are calling in. They're just going, they didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris. Obviously, they're racist and sexist. That's the only thing. It's the only thing it could be. It can't possibly be who she is as a person, her policies, the fact she's been a communist her entire career. She's pretending to be a capitalist. No, it's none of those things. It's just
right.
that
You have to give every black person everything they want, or you're racist.
Yeah. It's just the color of her skin, obviously, is what people are like. I love that guy. He's like, don't worry about me. I'm a white man. But it's like woke dad. But I have friends and family who have brown skin or suck dicks when they're guys. Like, don't ask. I don't know what's going to happen to these poor people. It's going to be terrible.
I've noticed a weird thing that the female caller did it, and Bill Maher actually did it on his show, and I mentioned it last night. But there's a weird thing that they're doing now. They're saying, like she said it, she's like, these people are just voting for people because they're sick of the way things are and they want things to change.
Yep.
Bill Maher said Friday on his show, he said, like, what these people want to do is just vote for people who are going to get in there and do the things they want and install the people they want and carry out their policies.
Yes,
it's
like, correct.
Right,
like a republic,
just
like a democratic
regular
republic.
election.
Yes.
Great, Senator Pussy. You have my votes.
It really is a weird thing that they're doing now. Like, they just want things to like be their way. It's like, right, that's what we're doing.
Robin even said, I didn't pull the clip, but Robin even said they didn't even care about their principles. If you listen to what people were saying in the polling stations, they just cared about the economy. Yeah, correct. Inflation's been out of control for the last 4 years. People hate that.
They do the thing where they're like, Trump's a criminal. He's a felon. It's like, none of us are sitting around thinking Trump's a great guy. Yeah. None of us think Trump's a perfectly honest guy. None of that stuff. Like, it isn't about, that's what they think, though, you're signing off on. Like,
right.
Wow, so I guess you like to grab women by the... I do.
Well, it's right back to that. I'd grab a beer with that guy. I'm like, I don't want a politician who I'd want to grab a beer with. I want someone who gets shit done. I don't want him at the pub at 4 p.m.
Yeah, he should be busy.
Right.
Also, I'd much rather grab a beer with Donald Trump than Kamala Harris.
Wow. Yeah. That's true. He doesn't drink, but I hear what you're saying. All right. Justin calls in from Georgia, and this is a guy who's not so upset about the results of the election. And props to Justin for getting onto the show. I know the great Cardiff Electric got on the Howard Stern show that one time. It's not easy.
Yeah, I'm sure he tricked his way past that call screener.
I would imagine, because honestly, most of the calls are fake on the show. Most of the show is fake. So getting real calls is actually refreshing on the show. So I have a longer clip here, but I enjoyed this.
Hey, I mean, my point is when are you guys going to figure out that we are suffering out here? We can't afford anything
No, wait a second. I believe everybody is suffering.
We can't afford anything out here, Howard.
Yeah, okay, but I believe people are suffering. Here's my guess. And again, I really just want to do a show where I cheer you up. I don't even like saying this. I'm rooting now for President Trump to do a great job and to make all the suffering go away. But here's what I do think. And this is why I took this stance. I know what suffering is, trust me. If you think I've had an easy life or some sort of financial success
not anymore,
my whole
Howard.
life.
You haven't had a hard life in a long time.
No, you don't know what my life is.
No, we know you're a mental case. No, I don't think Howard's life is easy. It should be.
It should be.
Right.
If I had his money and fame, I'd be having a phenomenal life. Howard is not. Because he's a lunatic.
All the difficulty is self-imposed.
Correct. Yes.
But here's the point. I was voting because I wanted to see a guy who is having a hard time get a break. And my fear now is, I know you think you're going to get a break. But what I'm afraid is you're going to lose some benefits that you're going to really need. And
like
you're going to lose, okay.
Like what?
Health insurance is going to be affected now.
I lost my job. That's my health insurance.
All right. Okay. All right. So your job is gone. And guess what? You could get health insurance through Obamacare.
So I love that this caller is like, what do you mean benefits? What are you talking about? What's going to change? I like when you have to ask people specific questions. Okay, Trump's the president. What's going to change? Health insurance. Health insurance couldn't be worse. I want everything to change about health insurance. I pay more for me and my wife than Chad Zumach makes podcasting every year. No lie.
Well, that's not much.
Wait, that sounds cheap.
It's expensive, man. A lot more. Put it that way. Health insurance is fucking expensive, and it's not been going in the right direction for a very long time. So the guy's like, yeah, but how about all that health insurance that you enjoy? The guy's like, health insurance?
And it's not even good. It's expensive for not even good health insurance. It's not even like great.
Right. I pay a ton of money, and I still have to pay for every doctor visit and prescription. It's like, yeah, okay, this is
after 10,000, we got it. Don't worry.
Yeah. So I like that this guy's like on him, like, what do you mean by that? Like, what are you talking about? So this is a great back and forth that happens here, because the guy's point is, Howard, you're talking all about politics and who everyone should vote for, and you hate Trump voters. What do you know about people's lives in America? And he brings up, when's the last time you went into a grocery store? Which is a phenomenal question to ask a guy like Howard Stern, who's completely living in a bubble in his giant mansion.
I do not believe necessarily that.
Howard, when was the last time you went to the grocery store?
Justin, it's not the election. Isn't about Justin. The election. The election. What the election is over. You've won. You're going to get everything you have in your dreams coming to you. I know you're angry.
Now he's being a douche about it. Oh, no, you win. Trump's going to be the greatest ever. Why you got to bring up the fact that I don't go to grocery store? I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Howard, you don't even know what
Go ahead, Pat.
I was going to say, you don't even know what unicorn meat costs.
Right.
I'm asking, Howard, when was the last time that you went to the grocery store?
I'm irrelevant in this. Justin, the election isn't about Howard Stern.
I love you, Howard. I listened to you for 25 years.
Election,
every day you come on here and you tell
Justin,
me how
let's
bad
be
Trump
positive.
is. I can't go to the grocery store.
I won't tell you Trump is bad now. I'm telling you, I hope Donald Trump is successful.
Howard put every fiber of his being into trying to get Kamala, and before that, Joe, elected as the president. And now Howard's going, what does that have to do with me, guys? Yeah. I mean, all I am is a media figure that shills for the Democratic Party. What do you mean? Why do I have anything to do with this? I mean, stake in this. Like, the guy's like, no, you obviously do. What are you talking about? You talk about it all the time. And now
I want
Howard's
to know
going,
why the unemployed guy who can't afford to go to the grocery store is paying for Sirius.
He does, too. Yeah, he explains that he pays for Sirius. That's a good point.
He is now going to be my next president. I want my people who I live with in America. Here's what I want for America. I want my children. I want my grandchildren. I want you, Justin, to have a great life and hope that life is
We are trying to have a great
easier.
life and be left alone, but we can't afford anything out here,
Okay,
Howard.
so I am now rooting. Again, you're attacking Justin. Your goal in this. Your goal in this is to attack
here
me.
In middle America, man.
I'm not running for office. I'm not running for office. I can only help you through a radio show and humor. That's all I can do.
No, you can't do that. No, for sure. But I love that all of a sudden now Howard's taking a stance like, look, I've just been on the outside looking in. I'm rooting for Trump. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, I was a Yankees fan, but now I think the Dodgers are great. I don't know. Like, what's the problem here?
Well,
it's not about whether I'm suffering. If you think me suffering would make you feel better, then I'm glad for you.
Suffer. I just want you to understand.
I am telling you.
Howard's being a child now. Yeah. That's such a childish argument.
Justin, that's right. I'm out of it, man. I'm an old man. I've worked my entire life. I have never had a day where I would say to you that I'm suffering the way you are. Okay? But it ain't about me. You're not hearing me. I want you to do well. I want you to succeed. I don't want you to be hungry. I don't want you to be without a job.
Okay.
I don't want you to be sad. I know that.
I
feel for you.
Why have you been talking shit about me and my other Trump supporting followers for the last
I'll tell you why.
years?
Because I think, that's true.
I love this call. I was listening to this morning. I was just like, fucking finally, someone is calling Howard out. The fact that he had the balls to go on and be like, I don't like anyone who listens to my show who likes Trump is going to vote for Trump. Don't listen to my show.
Nobody pushes back on Howard. Do you think this call screener's fired?
He's doing a worse job than Stuttering Josh. It's crazy, but I enjoyed it.
It does feel like someone who Howard was his escape from the shitty life he's having. And for the last year, he's had to listen to Howard tell him he's stupid, he's garbage, he's shit.
Yeah.
He just wants to laugh.
Right. And I know what it's like. I admitted this many times. March of 2020, I was still listening to Howard Stern every day. It wasn't until the pandemic that I went, okay, I can't listen to this guy anymore. This guy is driving me fucking crazy. I have to stop listening to this. But it becomes a habit for a lot of people. You used to love this show and everything that was associated with the show. And so you appreciate the characters on it and everything. And this is a guy that it sounds like, he's like, Howard, I've been listening to you for 25 years. I subscribe to Sirius. I give you money. And all you do is tell me I'm a piece of garbage. And I was just like, I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about.
It is like a genuine, just release, I think, for all these people, because for the past 6 to 8 years, they've driven anyone who believes anything Republican or Trumpian underground, and you should be ashamed of it. Don't bring it up. Don't wear. You're a Nazi. Right. You're a racist. Clearly, restaurants won't let you wear a Trump anything in anywhere. And so I think when something like this happens again, it's not even like a groundswell of support for Trump. It's a slap back at society. And it feels good to rub it in an elite's face like this. It's cathartic. There's no real point to it. You're not going to get Howard to ever change his mind or believe anything different. But these people have been underground getting pissed off about all this shit. people running around pretending it's normal when it's crazy. And it does. People want to release, man. They want to rub it in people's face. So that's what he's doing. I mean, he's really just blowing up at him. Like this is what you've been ignoring.
Yes.
Up in your castle.
Not only ignoring, but condemning.
Yeah.
Right.
You're trying to say that we're all crazy, and then all of a sudden, more people voted for the guy that you thought was this crazy racist Nazi than the woman that you were shilling for. And now it's like, you have to sit in that. And Howard's all of a sudden just going like, no, I love Trump. Let's go. Trump's going to be, that's my guy. Let's make it happen now.
That would be the easiest take.
Yeah, right. That's the easiest way to get along after you've been calling out your followers for so long. But it is interesting in my lifetime to see Republicans are like the punk rock party now. They're like pushing against the establishment. I've said this before, but growing up, my parents listened to opera and classical music, and they're really into that kind of music. When I started playing music, I played in a punk band. Just like the fucking opposite. Fuck right. You. We're going to do this way or whatever. And, you mature and you learn to appreciate it. But I do think that Trump going on all of these like Aiden Ross and Nelk Boys and, even Joe Rogan to some degree, but a lot of these shows was like getting those younger people just like, yeah, fuck you. The college are telling me to do this. My parents are telling me to do this. The news media, social media. So it is nice to see. I think this guy's kind of like living this out right now where he's like telling Howard, go fuck yourself. It's fun.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm the only thing that I still pay for satellite radio for you, and when I turn it on, you're ripping us up all the time.
Well, not all the time, but sometimes I can get angry too, Justin. Sometimes I can get angry too. And I think I know what's best for America, but clearly America doesn't agree with me. And that's okay.
Okay. So he's completely changed his tune, but yeah, I appreciated that call getting it because everyone else before that was just like, I know a gay person, so I'm very upset about what's going to happen now.
That's the disconnect, because I think where these people all broke is they think something's going to happen. They've all. I see a lot of arguments. I saw one post today, like I kept my kids out of school to console them over their very real fear and anxiety over their reproductive future. And I'm like, what?
Right.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then like these people are like, if you voted for Trump, you voted against every woman's autonomy today. Mm-hmm. I think they believe that, and that's why they're crazy. Like, it's not that I voted for Trump. It's not that people who think they voted for Trump wanted to shut down women's reproductive autonomy. You think that's what we're doing. And it's just not. It's just not. You've equated Trump with, oh, you hate women and you hate blacks. And you must hate women and blacks. And it's like, it's so wild that that's what you've reduced it down to. Just one issue, two issues. I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's a sickness. It's weird.
There was a clip I saw when I was watching you last night where you were watching CNN. And Van Jones, who's a crazy person, his reaction was so telling about how these people think. He goes, there are soldiers over in Ukraine right now, Ukrainian soldiers. How are they going to react to this news? Are they going to get the support they need? It's like, yeah, we don't care about that. We're Americans.
Actually don't give a fuck.
We're actually voting for America. Like, we have like real problems here. We're not worried about a war that was started over there in Eastern Europe. That's their problem.
They're lost. They're just lost.
They have no idea. Like, how could you turn your back on those Ukrainian soldiers? I wasn't the one who invited them in. I don't know what to tell you. Never used their flag on my social media profile.
Carl, what do you think the price of milk is in the Ukraine? Huh?
Right, yeah, it's probably very expensive.
A real problem for American voters.
Who are these podcasts?